The Rothschild banking family. How far back has this single family been controlling the banking interests of the entire planet? All that and more. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Jeremy Ryan Slate Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Ryan Slate, the CEO and co-founder of Command Your Brand. We help our clients to combat cancel culture by placing them on the right podcasts and new media. You can check us out over at commandyourbrand.com. A reminder, if you're brand new to this conversation, to like this video, leave us a comment, or smash that subscribe button if you support liberty, freedom, and want to build a better future. And the last couple weeks, we've been doing some interesting topics for you guys. We had a 9/11 topic a few weeks ago. We covered the Federal Reserve, which was an interesting topic. Insects. I'm really enjoying some of these recent monologues. I know the episodes aren't as long as what you guys are typically looking out for us, but I've been having a good time doing them, and I hope you guys are enjoying hearing them. So today's episode, we're going to take a look at the Rothschild banking family. All right, reminder, you guys can find me on X. I'm at Jeremy Ryan Slate over there. Follow, engage, and I want to be here. I want to hear from you guys. I want to have some conversations. And today we're going to go into one of the most legendary and controversial names in history, the Rothschilds. From humble beginnings in a Frankfurt ghetto to financing wars and shaping global economies. This family has been called everything from financial geniuses to the puppet masters of the entire planet. But what is the truth? Are they still pulling the strings here in 2025? Or is it all just a conspiracy theory? And you guys know I love a good conspiracy theory. We're going deep with names, dates, and that great conspiratorial bend you've come to know and love from this channel. So buckle up and let's get into this episode. All right, before we unravel the Rothschild saga, let's set the table. The Rothschild family is synonymous with banking, wealth, and power. Their name pops up in everything from historical records to ex-posts claiming they control global finance. But today we're going to be separating fact from fiction, because though I do enjoy fiction, I want to take a look at what I can historically date. This isn't just a story about money. It's about influence, strategy, and maybe a little mystery. And if we're talking about money, yes, I will do an episode on the House of Medici in the near future. How did a family from 18th century Germany become so powerful? And do they still run the show? So let's go back in time and break down step by step with the historical context you've come to know and love from this show. Let's start in the 1740s in Frankfurt, Germany, in a cramped Jewish ghetto called the Jundergasse. This is where Meyer Amschel Rothschild, and guys, I apologize for any of my pronunciation errors, was born in 1744. His family, it's not rich. They're coin dealers and money changers, scraping by under strict laws that limit Jewish businesses. But Meyer's got a knack for finance. By the 1760s, he's working for a bank in Hanover, and he's learning the ropes of the lending and of trade. In the 1770s, he starts his own business, dealing in coins, antiques, and small loans. And here's where it gets very interesting. Meyer Rothschild catches the eye of Prince William IX of Hesse-Kassel, one of Europe's richest nobles. By the 1780s, Meyer's managing William's massive fortune, investing it across Europe. This is a big break for him. He's not just a local moneylender or banker anymore. He's playing with royal families. Meyer's genius? He builds a system based on trust and secrecy, using his 5 sons to expand the business. In 1798, Mayer sends his third son, Nathan Mayer Rothschild, and I think it's Mayer over Meyer, so I apologize, guys, to England to set up shop. Nathan starts in Manchester, trading textiles, but by 1804, he's in London, diving into finance. The other sons, Solomon, Karl, Amschel, and James, spread to Vienna, Naples, and Paris. By 1810, the Rothschilds have 5 banks in major cities, creating the world's first international banking network and empire. They're not just lending money. They're sharing information using private couriers to stay ahead of competitors. This is the 18th century version of high-speed internet, or maybe a spy network, whichever you want to believe. It's a game changer. So by the early 1800s, the Rothschilds are a force. They're financing governments, trading bonds, and building wealth faster than anyone else, really in history up to that point. But they are just smart businessmen, or is there something bigger brewing? So let's hold that thought for a second, and let's dig a little deeper here. Now, let's jump to the early 1800s, the height of the Napoleonic Wars. Europe's a mess. Napoleon's conquering everything, and governments need cash to fight. The Rothschilds see an opportunity. Nathan Rothschild in London becomes the go-to guy for financing Britain's war effort against France. By 1813, he's lending millions to the British, and the government, backed by his brother's banks in Europe. So here's a famous story for you. And it may be true, maybe not, but it's still interesting. In 1815, the Battle of Waterloo decides Napoleon's fate. Legend says Nathan Rothschild gets word of Wellington's victory before anyone else. And this is thanks to his private courier network. The story goes that he manipulates the London Stock Exchange, pretending Napoleon won, to crash prices, then buying up stocks cheap before the real news actually hits. By the time everyone knows Britain won, Nathan's made a fortune. Historians like Neil Ferguson say this is exaggerated. Nathan did profit, but not through some grand scheme. Still, the tale sticks. And frankly, I find it quite interesting. And that's why some posts on X call the Rothschild market, they call them market wizards. So here's what is not a myth. Their real power. Between 1810 and 1820, the Rothschilds dominate European bond markets. They lend to Britain, Prussia, Austria, and even post-Napoleonic France. In 1818, they issue a £5 million loan to Prussia, which is a huge deal at the time. They're secret. They're not just bankers. They're advisors. Governments trust them to stabilize economies. By 1825, the Rothschilds are richer than most kings, with a network that spans continents. But here's where the conspiracy angle kicks in. And I do enjoy a good conspiracy. Some folks say the Rothschilds didn't just finance wars and things of the like. They influenced them. Did they pick winners and losers to boost their profits? Well, you can look at wars throughout history and see bankers have controlled both sides because it's very profitable for them. Ex-post claim they funded both sides of Waterloo, hedging their bets. There's no hard proof, but their ability to lend to rivals does raise eyebrows. Were they just playing a game or shaping the game board? And you've seen this throughout wars in history. It doesn't have to be just the Rothschilds, but other bankers. You can see them playing both sides. So I think we should keep this conversation going. By the mid-1800s, the Rothschilds are at their peak. They're not just rich. They're indispensable. In 1836, Nathan dies, but his brothers and their sons keep the empire humming. James Rothschild in Paris finances France's railroads and industries. Solomon in Vienna backs the Austrian Empire. In London, Nathan's son Lionel takes over, becoming a member of parliament in 1858, the first Jewish MP in British history. Their influence is everywhere. In 1875, Lionel Rothschild pulls off a legendary deal. Britain wants to buy the Suez Canal, a key trade route. The catch? They need £4 million fast. Lionel arranges the loan in days, securing Britain's control and earning a tidy profit. This is the Rothschilds at their best, moving money and power like chess pieces. They're also diversifying. By the 1880s, they're into mining, railroads, and oil. They back the De Beers Diamond Company, which is in South Africa, and invest in Russian oil fields. Their wealth is staggering. By 1900, estimates put their fortune at £40 million. And that's equivalent to billions in 2025 dollars. But they're not flashy. They don't live like an NBA player. Man, those guys can spend money. They live quietly, give to charity, and avoid scandal. This low profile fuels conspiracies. Why are they so secretive? What are they hiding? Now let's talk about the big conspiracy claims. The Rothschilds and central banks. This is one of my favorite, and though it's difficult to prove, I think they play a large part in central banking. Some experts say they created the Federal Reserve in 1913, pointing to their ties to Paul Warburg, a key Fed architect. The truth? They had influence in Europe's banks, like the Bank of England, but no direct role in the Fed. Still, their early 1800s dominance, lending to governments, setting gold prices, it set the stage for modern banking. By 1900, their power is less about control and more about legacy. But the rumors don't die. Are they the masterminds behind global finance or just really good at it? Let's look at today. Fast forward to 2025, the Rothschilds are still here, but they're not the titans they once were. Or are they? Their banking empire, now led by the seventh generation, operates through firms like Rothschild and Company, a wealth management and advisory group. In 2024, Forbes estimates their family wealth at $20 billion. That's significantly less than Elon Musk, by the way. Spread across dozens of their heirs. They're still players, advising governments, managing elite fortunes, but they're at least not publicly dominating like in 1815. So it has to make you wonder, did their methods change or did their influence change? What do they do now? Rothschild and Company handles mergers like a $7 billion deal for a tech firm in 2023. They're big in philanthropy, which we know the Gates Foundation is as well, funding hospitals, schools, and Jewish causes. Jacob Rothschild, a key figure until his death in 2024, was a patron of the arts, backing London's National Gallery. But their low profile keeps the conspiracies alive, and those of us that understand history keep it alive even more. Ex-posts claim they control the Federal Reserve. I tend to agree with those ex-posts. The Bank of England, even some of the weather. Well, and if you've heard of RFK's talks recently, there might be something to this weather issue. Some say their wealth is in the trillions, hidden in offshore accounts, tied to the City of London. So let's break it down. The Rothschilds don't, quote, own central banks. That's a myth. The Federal Reserve is owned by its member banks, not families. The Bank of England, nationalized in 1946, isn't theirs either, but their influence lingers indirectly. Because just because they own something doesn't mean they push control, which I think is something important to understand. Their 19th century innovation, international banking bond markets, shaped today's financial system. And their ties to elites, from politicians to billionaires, keep them connected. In 2018, they advised Saudi Arabia's $100 billion oil IPO. That's not control, but it's clout. And that's how you can say someone doesn't, quote, own things, but they control them. And here's a wild stat. The global banking system handles $6.6 trillion daily in foreign exchange. And the Rothschilds, through their central advisory network, touch a fraction of that. Are they puppet masters? Possibly. But when you've been this powerful for 200 years, people start to wonder. Some ex-users say they're behind globalist groups like the World Economic Forum, which I wouldn't be shocked to not see. Though there's no proof, their names keep popping up. Is it just their legacy or something more? So why care about the Rothschilds? Because their story is about power. How it's built, how it lasts, and how it's misunderstood. Their rise from a ghetto to a global player shows what strategy and timing can do. But it also reminds us to question who's behind the curtain, just like in The Wizard of Oz. Your bank account, your taxes, your cost of living, they're tied to the financial system. The Rothschilds helped to shape this system. When markets move, someone's profiting. Is it them? Maybe, maybe not. But it's worth asking. What can you do? Well, first, you can dig into history, like this YouTube channel. You can next dig into books, like the book The House of Rothschild by Neil Ferguson. You can separate fact from fiction. Second, you can watch your money. The Rothschilds thrive by understanding markets. Maybe you don't have to be a little maniacal, but you can also learn from how they've made money. Invest smart, diversify, and hedge against inflation. Third is to stay curious. When you hear global elite, don't just nod along. Ask who, how, and why. The truth's usually less wild than the conspiracy, but still it's powerful, and I will be honest to you. Sometimes there are still some wild things out there you would find totally unbelievable that are true. Looking ahead, the Rothschilds aren't going anywhere. They're adapting, focusing on tech and green energy. But their legend, part of their genius, part myth, will outlive them. The question is, who's the next Rothschild? Quietly building power in 2025. And honestly, that's for you to figure out. That's a wrap, folks. From Frankfurt's ghetto to Waterloo's markets, from Suez to 2025. We've traced the Rothschilds, their epic rise, and the myths that won't seem to quit. Are they the world's secret rulers, or just history's best bankers? You decide. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button. Notifications bell. Be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into history and power. Follow me on X. I am at Jeremy Ryan Slate for updates. And be sure to check the description for sources, as well as extra reading, and be sure to use our sponsors. We appreciate them as well. Till next time, keep questioning, keep digging, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Jeremy Ryan Slate Show. Have a good one, everybody.